It was almost 2 a.m., but millions of football fans around the world were still wide awake. Because June 26, 2026 was not just another match day. It was that night when some teams were about to write history, some dreams were about to shatter forever, and some stars were about to shine so brightly that their names would be remembered for years to come. In some stadiums, chants of joy were ready to explode, while in others, a haunting silence was waiting to fall. In some countries, celebrations were being prepared, and elsewhere, millions of hearts were about to break. But the biggest question was only one: who would reach the knockout stage today, and whose World Cup would end tonight? With this tension, the world's eyes first turned to the stadium in Boston, where on one side stood Norway, led by Erling Haaland, and on the other side, the strong favorites to become world champions, France. The stadium was completely packed. Thousands of blue and red flags were waving. Norway's supporters were chanting with full belief for their hero, not Haaland, not the Netherlands, but Haaland. And then, the whistle blew. The match began. Only 7 minutes had passed when France struck the first blow. Ousmane Dembélé sliced through the defense and buried the ball into the net. French fans leapt from their seats. But the story didn't end there. Just minutes later, Dembélé once again charged dangerously into the box. The shot, and goal. Within just 20 minutes, France were 2-0 ahead. Worry was written all over the faces of the Norwegian players. Haaland kept urging his team forward, but France didn't stop. Before the end of the first half, Dembélé completed his hat trick. Only one name echoed through the stadium: Dembélé, Dembélé, Dembélé. Meanwhile, in Toronto, another match was already underway: Senegal versus Iraq. For Senegal, this wasn't just a match for victory. It was a match to keep hope alive. In just the 4th minute, Habib Diarra scored a brilliant goal to give Senegal the lead. And then, Iraq's problems grew even worse when one of their players was shown a red card early in the match. Now Senegal had open space to attack. In the second half, Ismaila Sarr scored a historic World Cup goal. It was the 4th goal of his World Cup career, making him Senegal's all-time top scorer in World Cup history. But the attacks didn't stop there. Pape Gueye scored not 1, but 2 goals. And finally, Iliman Ndiaye struck the 5th goal, sealing Iraq's fate once and for all. Senegal won the match 5-0. But was this massive victory enough to take them to the next round? The decision was still pending, because on the same night, results from other groups were coming. Results that could change the entire picture of the World Cup. Senegal's fans were celebrating, but their eyes were still fixed on their mobile phones. Because their own victory wasn't enough, they were waiting for results from other matches. Meanwhile, the world's attention shifted to another major clash: Spain versus Uruguay. The atmosphere in the stadium was completely different. On one side, Spain's fast-paced passing. On the other, Uruguay's rock-solid defensive line. From the very first minute, both teams tested each other. Every tackle, every pass, every attack made the heartbeat of the crowd race. The first half ended. The score was still 0-0. But everyone knew this silence wouldn't last long. The second half began. Spain started increasing the pressure. Uruguay stood firm in defense. Then, after nearly an hour of play, the moment everyone was waiting for arrived. Spain launched a lightning-fast attack. The ball went to the right side. A dangerous cross came in, and Nico Williams finished brilliantly, sending the ball into the net. Goal! The entire stadium was painted red. Thousands of Spanish fans erupted in celebration. But the match wasn't over yet. In the final 20 minutes, Uruguay threw everything forward. Attack after attack. Long balls, corners, headers. But Spain's defense turned into a wall. The goalkeeper made several stunning saves as well. Every passing second was draining Uruguay's hope. And then, the referee blew the final whistle. Spain national football team 1, Uruguay national football team 0. Just one goal. But that single goal changed the entire group. At the same time, on another pitch, the scene was completely different. Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia. It was the kind of match where both teams knew one mistake and everything would be over. In the first half, both sides played cautiously. Saudi Arabia attacked several times. Cape Verde responded with counterattacks. But every time either the goalkeeper stood in the way or the ball went wide of the post. The second half became even more intense. At one moment, it looked like Saudi Arabia would score. The entire stadium rose to its feet. The shot was taken, but the ball went straight into the goalkeeper's hands. Minutes later, Cape Verde had a golden chance. The striker was one-on-one. Only the goalkeeper ahead. The shot, but an unbelievable save. Fans sat down holding their heads in disbelief. Time was running out fast. 90 minutes were completed. Extra time ended as well. And then, the final whistle. Cape Verde 0. Saudi Arabia 0. There were no goals on the scoreboard. But that single draw changed the fate of many teams. Some faces showed relief. Some showed disappointment. And some were still waiting for other results. But the night wasn't over yet, because the final match was going to be the most explosive of all. A team was about to step onto the pitch, not just to win, but to shock the entire world. Belgium national football team, and standing opposite them was New Zealand national football team. Would Belgium rain down goals? Or would New Zealand pull off the biggest upset in the world? Now only one match remained, but perhaps this was the match everyone had been waiting for the most. Belgium versus New Zealand. The stadium lights were shining at full brilliance. Thousands of fans were on their feet, because everyone knew Belgium didn't just have a chance to win. They had a chance to show their power to the entire world. The referee blew the whistle, and from the very first moment, Belgium took complete control of the ball. New Zealand were forced deep into their own half. Every few minutes, a new attack, a new attempt, and then, finally, the defense broke. Goal. Belgium took the lead. The stadium erupted with joy. But the surprise wasn't over yet. Just moments later, another attack, another goal. New Zealand's players looked at each other. They had already realized this night was not going to be easy. Before the first half even ended, Belgium launched yet another powerful attack. The third goal, and the stadium drowned in celebration. In the second half, New Zealand refused to give up. They created a beautiful counterattack, and finally, scored their only goal of the match. Even the crowd applauded the effort. But Belgium were not stopping. They responded immediately. Fourth goal. And then, the fifth. The final whistle blew. Belgium national football team 5. New Zealand national football team 1. This wasn't just a victory. It was a statement. Belgium told the entire world that they are among the strongest contenders for the trophy. But, in another stadium, a completely different story was being written. Egypt versus Iran. This was not a match of goal rain. It was a battle of nerves. In the first half, both teams searched for each other's weaknesses. Every pass was calculated. Every tackle was full force. Finally, Egypt launched a brilliant attack. The ball entered the box. The shot, and goal. Egyptian fans erupted with joy. It felt like victory was now in their hands. But Iran refused to surrender. Time was running out fast. The match had entered its final moments. And then, Iran built a dangerous attack. The ball entered the box. The shot was taken. The goalkeeper tried to stop it, but the ball had already hit the net. 1-1. The entire stadium was stunned. In the final minutes, both teams fought desperately for a winner. But fate sided with neither. The final whistle, and the match ended level. When all the matches were over, the stadium slowly began to empty. Some fans walked out singing with joy. Some were silent. Some had tears in their eyes. And some were already dreaming of the next round. Just one day, just a few matches, but so many stories. France showed their power. Senegal kept hope alive. Spain was rewarded for patience. Belgium unleashed a storm of goals. And Egypt and Iran taught the lesson of never giving up until the last moment. This is the World Cup, where every whistle, every goal, every tear, and every celebration writes a new story. But this journey is far from over. The real test is about to begin. The knockout stage, where one mistake, one moment, and one goal can end a team's dream forever. So get ready, because the biggest battles of World Cup
The
2026
world
are
is
still
watching.
coming.